The Great Houses of Westeros are the major seats of power that make up the noble houses of the Seven Kingdoms under the rule of the King of the Andals and the Rhoynar and the First Men. Noble houses could be differentiated into the Great Houses and the Minor Houses. Before Aegon's conquest, each of the Seven Kingdoms was ruled independently by a powerful royal family. During the conquest, these families were either destroyed, replaced, or defeated, and made to swear allegiance to King Aegon, who reigned from the Iron Throne in King's Landing. Each great house has a large number of vassal houses serving it, most of whom in turn have smaller vassals under them, extending all the way down to farmers and knights. Each great house rules over its territory and is responsible for collecting taxes and, in times of war, raising troops to fight for the king. Otherwise, they are largely left to operate autonomously to simplify the bureaucracy and governance of the realm. Now, let's spotlight the Big Four, the heavyweight contenders vying for dominance. These Big Four houses would always have their own standing army, flag, symbol, coat of arms, and representative colors. Both the books and the TV shows mostly focus on these four families. Up first is House Baratheon of Storm's End, which is a great house of Westeros that traditionally rules the Stormlands on the eastern coast, aptly named for its frequent storms. House Baratheon became the royal house of the Seven Kingdoms after Robert Baratheon led a rebellion against the Targaryen dynasty. At the end of the rebellion, Robert ascended the Iron Throne as Robert I and married Cersei Lannister after the death of Lyanna Stark. House Baratheon became officially extinct though after the deaths of Stannis Baratheon and his family, but was revived when Robert's last known bastard was legitimized by Queen Daenerys Targaryen as Gendry Baratheon. House Baratheon's sigil is a crowned black stag on a gold field, and their house words are "Ours is the Fury." Next, we have House Lannister of Casterly Rock, which is one of the richest and most powerful families and one of the realm's oldest dynasties. It was briefly the royal house of the Seven Kingdoms until their defeat in the last war. The Lannisters rule over the Westerlands, and their seat is Casterly Rock, a massive rocky promontory overlooking the Sunset Sea, which has had habitations and fortifications built into it over the millennia. They are the Lords Paramount of the Westerlands and the Wardens of the West. As the new royal house, they also rule directly over the Crownlands from their seat of the Red Keep in King's Landing, the traditional seat of the royal family. House Lannister's heraldry consists of a golden lion on a crimson background, and their house words are "Hear me roar," which are rarely mentioned. Their unofficial motto, which is as well known as the official one, is "A Lannister always pays his debts," which is used much more often and mostly in negative context, though it can also be used in the original literal sense. Its leadership was disputed by Queen Cersei I Lannister and Hand of the Queen to Daenerys Targaryen Lord Tyrion Lannister, who became the head of the house after the Battle of King's Landing. House Stark of Winterfell is another great house of Westeros and the royal house of the Kingdom of the North. They rule over the vast region known as the North in Westeros, and the family is one of the oldest lines of Westerosi nobility by far, claiming a line of descent stretching back over 8,000 years. Before Aegon's conquest, as well as during the War of the Five Kings and early on in the last war, the leaders of House Stark ruled over the region as the Kings in the North. They retook their lands from House Bolton, who usurped House Stark at the Red Wedding after the Battle of the Bastards. The house is ruled by Sansa Stark, the Queen in the North, and the heir is Princess Arya Stark. The house's sigil is a gray direwolf on a white background over green. They're one of the few noble houses whose words are not a boast or a threat. Instead, the House Stark family motto is a warning, one that, no matter the circumstances, will always be relevant. Winter is coming, which served as a reminder of their beginnings in the wake of the Long Night and a grim portent of the things to come. House Stark, as the only First Men dynasty to resist the coming of the Andals, proudly hold on to the worship of the old gods. Due to their rule over the North and knowledge of its troubles, they are unfailing supporters of the importance of the Night's Watch, despite its fall from glory in current times. As one of the last remaining Valyrian steel items from Old Valyria, House Stark greatly treasures its ancestral sword of ice, which has been used in battles and executions. House Targaryen of Dragonstone, known poetically as the House of the Dragon, is an exiled great house of Westeros and the former royal house of the Seven Kingdoms. House Targaryen conquered and unified the realm before it was deposed during Robert's Rebellion, where House Baratheon replaced it as the new royal house. The two surviving Targaryens, Viserys and Daenerys, fled into exile to the free cities of Essos across the Narrow Sea. House Lannister replaced House Baratheon as the royal house in the aftermath of the War of the Five Kings, but they were defeated in the last war. After Daenerys burnt King's Landing, she was assassinated by her nephew Jon Snow to prevent further destruction. Jon is the last known Targaryen, but his identity as the son of Rhaegar Targaryen is kept a secret, and he was exiled to the Night's Watch for the assassination of Daenerys, effectively ending House Targaryen. However, the bloodline of House Targaryen still exists in various houses, such as House Baratheon, House Velaryon, and House Martell. The Targaryen sigil is a three-headed red dragon on a black background, and their house words are fire and blood. The head of House Targaryen is also referred to as the Dragon. While both the books and the shows mostly focus on the main 4 houses, there are 14 other great houses that have important backstories and motivations. Bronn's house was made the rulers of the Reach from the castle of Highgarden. Its current head is Sir Bronn of the Blackwater, who founded the house upon being made Lord Paramount of the Reach with the extinction of House Tyrell. The sigil of the house is a flaming arrow, symbolizing Bronn's role during the Battle of the Blackwater. House Arryn is the ruling family of the Vale of Arryn from the castle of the Eyrie. It was integrated with the Kingdom of the North until Jon Snow abdicated. Its current head is Lord Robin Arryn, who is also the only current member. House Arryn's sigil features a white falcon and crescent moon on a blue field, and their house words are "as high as honor." House Greyjoy became the ruler of the Iron Islands from the Castle of Pike after Aegon the Conqueror named them the Iron Islands' new leaders. Its leadership was disputed by King Euron Greyjoy and claimant Queen Yara Greyjoy. However, following the Battle of King's Landing and with Euron's death at the hands of Sir Jaime Lannister, Yara is now the head of the house. House Greyjoy displays a golden kraken on a black field as their sigil, and their house words are "we do not sow." House Martell of Sunspear rules the peninsula of Dorne in the far south of the continent. Though loyal to the Iron Throne, the Martells were never conquered by the Targaryens and have pursued a more isolated role in wider political events since Robert's Rebellion. House Martell was deposed by Ellaria Sand and 3 of the Sand Snakes in a coup, but the new Prince of Dorne retook control over Dorne after Ellaria's defeat. House Martell's sigil is a red sun pierced by a gold spear on an orange field, accompanied by the words "unbowed, unbent, unbroken." House Tully is the ruling family of the Riverlands from their seat at Riverrun. Riverrun was under Frey and Lannister control until Daenerys Targaryen overthrew Queen Cersei Lannister in the Battle of King's Landing. Lord Edmure Tully was restored to his former position sometime after Arya Stark assassinated all the males of House Frey. House Tully's sigil is a silver trout leaping on a blue and red striped field, and their house words are family, duty, honor. House Frey was a former vassal to House Tully, the rulers of the Riverlands, after usurping their positions as a result of the Red Wedding. Lord Walder Frey and his male descendants were murdered by Arya Stark, leaving its lordship uncertain and briefly descending the Riverlands into anarchy until Lannister soldiers were sent to maintain order. While House Frey survived Arya Stark's massacre, particularly through Walder Frey's many daughters and other female descendants, it is no longer a great house following Edmure Tully's restoration as Lord Paramount of the Trident. House Frey's sigil consists of 2 blue towers connected by a bridge on a silver gray field, and their house words are "we stand together." At the time of the coming of the Andals about 6,000 years ago, the Lords of the Vale united under Robar II Royce, proclaiming him as their High King. Robar's rule of the Vale would prove brief, as the Vale was shortly thereafter conquered by the Andal knight Sir Ardys Arryn, whose descendants, House Arryn, has ruled the Vale ever since. House Royce's sigil depicts a shower of pebbles on an orange field surrounded by runes, with their house words being "we remember." House Casterly were the rulers of the Westerlands until they were swayed away from their home by the legendary trickster Lann the Clever, the founder of House Lannister. House Casterly's sigil is a golden lion on crimson, though their house words are not explicitly mentioned in the books. House Mudd were the rulers of the Riverlands until their bloodline was extinguished by Andal invaders. House Justman were also the rulers of the Riverlands until they were exterminated by House Durrandon. House Hoare were the rulers of the Iron Islands and through conquest the Riverlands too. After their defeat, Aegon the Conqueror commanded the Ironborn to select a new family from among their number to rule over the rest under the Targaryens. They selected House Greyjoy, and House Hoare fell into disarray. House Durrandon were the rulers of the Stormlands. Orys Baratheon, the founder of House Baratheon, married the daughter of the last king of House Durrandon. Thus, House Baratheon descends from the Durrandons through the female line. House Gardener were the rulers of the Reach. House Tyrell claims descent from House Gardener through the female line, and House Florent is actually a cadet branch of House Gardener with a better claim to rule based on lineage than the Tyrells. Several other houses from the Reach also descend from House Gardener, and their sigil is a green hand on a white background. Their words are "spring forth," referencing how their ancestor Garth the Gardener sprang forth from Garth Greenhand. House Bolton, former vassals to House Stark, became the rulers of the North from the Castle of Winterfell after usurping their positions from House Stark during the Red Wedding. Ramsay Bolton, the sole heir, was killed in the aftermath of the Battle of the Bastards by his own hounds, rendering the house extinct. House Bolton's sigil is a flayed man, red on pink. House Tyrell were the rulers of the Reach from the Castle of Highgarden after the extinction of House Gardener. The bloodline is wiped out as a result of the destruction of the Great Sept of Baelor and the sack of Highgarden. House Tyrell's sigil is a golden rose on a green field, and their house words are "growing strong." House Hightower of Oldtown is a vassal house from the Reach that holds fealty to Highgarden. Their seat is the Hightower located in the great city of Oldtown, the oldest, richest, and second most populated city of Westeros that lies southwest of Highgarden at the mouth of the river Honeywine and opens to the Sunset Sea. Their words are, "We light the way," and their sigil is a stone watchtower lighted with a green flame. House Velaryon is a noble house of Valyrian origin with a bloodline as old as that of House Targaryen, possibly older. Although they were not dragon lords and thus not among the top ruling families, they were important to the trade and commerce of the Valyrian freehold. They settled on the island of Driftmark before the Targaryens settled on the neighboring island Dragonstone as a trade outpost between Valyria and the petty kingdoms of Westeros. The Velaryons developed a strong maritime tradition, gradually expanding their fishing and merchant fleets until they controlled much of the sea traffic in Blackwater Bay. House Velaryon's sigil features a silver seahorse on a sea green field. And there you have it, the Great Houses of Westeros, each with its quirks, alliances, and vendettas. Which house would you pledge allegiance to? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.